Since the beginning of time, or at least the beginning of television, we've been documenting our surroundings for a nominal fee. Tonight, we document those documentaries with your old pal Wes and the Reverend Jeff Kelly. This is Bigfoot Documentaries, Uncensored.
Well, hallelujah, people. The Reverend Jeff has survived his expedition once again, but that's not this show. That show's on Wednesday. This show is Bigfoot Docs Uncensored, and we're talking about Bigfoot, the mysterious monster. And with me, as always, is your old pal Wes, Mr. Wes Losner of WesLosner.com. How you doing, big guy?
I'm doing pretty damn good. How are you?
Just as good as you are at this point.
I hope so.
Holy cow. Yes, indeed. We're talking about the show that was hosted by Peter Graves, 1976, for an hour and a half show. So it would definitely have been like a special edition. This is something you gathered your family around for Sunday night. Bigfoot, the mysterious monster. Get your popcorn ready, y'all, because, boy, we've got some notes on this one. Let's get it started there, Wes.
All right. Well, I mean, it starts off, you got Graves just staring at you right in the screen, and he just tells you that this is the most startling film you will ever see.
Everything you're about to see
Yeah.
is 100% real.
Yeah. And then you get I don't know if it was just the version that I watched. I looked for others and found, I guess, the same one. But it was a kind of a shaky camera and scary music playing, you know. And then you hear the Sierra sounds, which seems to be, yeah. And then, like you said, Peter Graves and everything. But then you get just like the last one, the Bigfoot trampling through the woods. You know,
yeah, that seems to be a theme with Bigfoot documentaries, as we were noticing in the 70s at least.
Yeah.
You know, the opening scene of the Bigfoot traipsing through the woods. However, this one's different. Unlike the last couple that we watched where it's been an ambiguous Bigfoot, this one actually has a suit.
Yeah.
Actually, it has quite several suits, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But this one actually has a Bigfoot suit.
Yeah, it was the suit. You get to see it right off the bat, you know, so you already know what it's about. But they go back and they start talking about sightings like the others, you know, and they, you know, emphasize that they're in the Pacific Northwest in 1975, and they kind of have this little mock-up scene where they've got police and investigators, you know, looking at this track, and there's dudes casting it, you know. And I have it in my notes really big right here. It's really funny. Just from the beginning of the documentary, if you watch this documentary, all right, pay attention to Peter Graves' hair, because you're going to watch this shit evolve before your eyes through this documentary. And I make note of it every single time. But like they go through, you know, the history of Bigfoot, the beginning of Bigfoot, you know, and like sightings, and then witnesses, and then you see Robert Morgan talking about his sighting.
Yeah, well, right before Robert Morgan was that chick, the little ponytail girl, the little skinny waif girl. Now, I don't know who that was, but if I'm not mistaken, that was, you know, some Bigfoot chick back in the day that everybody kind of recognized that had a famous story. But one of the things that I've noticed that was in this was this little picture here. All events dramatized in this motion picture are based upon reports of actual witnesses, which tells you that none of the shit they're going to put on TV tonight is actually real.
Yeah. You know, it's funny as you say that this some chick, and I have that written right before I say Morgan, and it's just some chick.
Yeah, some chick with a Bigfoot story as usual,
but,
you know.
Yeah, but then, you know, they do what like some documentaries of today and shows do, where they show you a little bit of something and then they end up showing you the full bit of it later. And you got this dude and his little girl talking about his sighting, and then you know, then they talked about how things couldn't be, you know, thought of as real, like the Loch Ness and all that other stuff, and they talked about gorillas, how they used to be a myth, and then
it was only the mid 19th century, but before we even discovered the gorilla and other primates and mammals and thousands of insects every year. It's kind of the same thing that documentaries do now. They point out, it's not unheard of to discover new things.
Yeah, and what the fuck? I didn't even know this, but the panda wasn't discovered till 1937.
Yeah, that's correct. And they're still, to this day, even rarely found out in the wild. I mean, there's like 25 of them little bastards left.
But still, you can't find. Okay, this is what just makes it more believable, that there's shit out there, is if you can't find this big, fluffy-ass white and black bear amidst nothing but green
bamboo,
then I'm sorry. You know what?
Well, it wasn't a matter that they weren't found or known of. As always, the locals said they were there. The villagers said they seen them. Nobody believed them. Nobody put in the time or effort to go out there until 1932. And I believe that was because somebody had shot one and brought the pelt back and said, look, they're out there. And then finally they put the money into an expedition and said, guess what? Yeah, you're right. There's some black and white big thing living out here in the bamboo.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm gonna murder this name of this tribe. All right. So don't put any curses on me if this is your tribe. But the Tapatadai tribe wasn't discovered in the Philippines until 1972.
Yeah, dude, that's kind of like killer to actually think about. I mean, I guess discovered by who? They knew of each other. They lived on an island. The Philippines are a gathering of islands into a nation. I mean, so there are places where people could live in the jungle, and they are little jungle islands, and not really be heard of. But we know of the one that came right after that, the Indian guy who lived outside of Sacramento until 1912, who just like asked out of the woods and was like, my whole tribe dead. I'm the only one left. You white people suck.
Ishi. And he was from Redding, where I used to live.
Yeah.
And he was from the Yahi tribe.
The Yahi tribe. Yeah. Could you imagine just like being the last dude left of your tribe? You just can't live by yourself because you're so lonely. So you just ass into town and go, all you white people suck.
So then they, after talking about him, they broke into saying, well, this is how Bigfoot could exist and everything. And then they started talking about Loch Ness. Now they...
yeah, we don't.
Just
don't know
like
why.
how I predicted, I knew it was this one. I knew that I had seen this before and everything, but they do for about 20 minutes. I mean, and they go
bust off on a Nessie trip, submarines and all.
I mean, if you guys are into Nessie and everything, I mean, I could go
if
through
not, not just skip through it, fast forward 20 minutes. It'll be all right,
mean,
but
blah 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 blah. They
the fin picture. The fin picture was the most important thing that came out of that, right? What the hell is that? I don't know. It's something in the loch.
There was videos of ducks swimming. I'm like that's what it was to me. So I'm like, I think back then they were seeing a duck swimming in the water, and they videotaped it. And then they showed a guy with a lumpy plesiosaur painting, and he said that it could change shape. And
that's it. Shapeshifter.
And it says right here, boring lock talk. And then Helmet Head comes on here, and he talks about they said that science has accepted the Loch Ness monster.
That's
all right. Now that's just that Helmet Head is saying Loch Ness monster. That's like kittens and puppies. We know those are there.
Loch Ness monster's 100% real, but Bigfoot's still not proven.
Okay, and Peter Graves flying in a plane, talking about, hey, I didn't say flying in a Bigfoot this time.
That's right. Not flying in a Bigfoot.
But yeah, so he's flying in a plane, and I almost said Bigfoot right there. No, so he's flying in a plane, and he's narrating a little bit, and then he meets up with Peter Byrne, and starts talking with him, and then you get to Miss Jefferson's sighting.
Miss Jefferson. Oh, tell us about Miss Jefferson's sighting.
Well, she had some sighting, and she was one of those Well, I guess that wasn't her, huh? Since it was
No, none of it was
traumatization.
her.
No,
It was all traumatization.
yeah. So that wasn't even her, but it was like a witchy little, like a lady that you would think would play a teacher or something in some
Is
old
that the one
movie.
that went out to the drag strip to investigate the monster sightings?
Yeah.
Oh, they put her under hypnosis, and she sat in the chair. And she had a phone conversation with her friend. I'm going to come pick you up. We're going to go down to the drag strip, look for this monster. I mean, it was so horribly, horribly acted. Of course, it was a traumatization, but boy, was it funny.
Oh man. But so the team that was out there found some tracks that was investigating that and everything. And the face was hideous and it smelled and
It smelled god awful. I'd never
Yeah.
smelled anything so bad in his life. Oh.
And then they, Burn comes back in, starts talking some more, and then they old Helmet Head starts mispronouncing names, and I think he meant to say Almasta or the Almasti.
Yeah, the
Almasti. But he called him the Almasta.
High in the Russian Himalayas, they found the Russian Almasta.
And then they, started talking about the Shiften prince.
Hey, before we get into that, let's take just a short little moment break to talk about your art of the week, dude. Dude, this friggin' painting is amazing. What the hell do you call this, bro?
I don't know. I left it with kind of a.
You haven't given it a title yet, dude.
I mean, it just kind of says on my website. It says, "Uh-oh."
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's like so.
I'm leaving it up to you. Don't know what it is. You don't know what's gonna happen. Did he just fight off a cougar to save her, or did he fight off a cougar because they're scarce on food?
I mean, I love the ghost eye, dude. The ghost eye is just like such a cool touch because that's an old wound, Yeah. This is a warrior Bigfoot. So, but what's with the little girl with the flower all by herself in the middle of the woods? Is this like Men in Black? You shoot little Susie in the head because she's carrying books?
No, I've painted this little girl a couple of times before and have sold it. It's just I put her in a lot of fucked up situations. That's the only thing I can say. I've done one where she's kind of sitting there with her teddy bear and a shit ton of asteroids are coming down to hit her. Like
poor little thing. It's like Wes's alter ego. He just wants to destroy the little bitch. That's kind of funny. Hey, I've got some audio of the Shiftens in Shiften's word himself about what he actually has to say about the Yeti. This would be a good time to play that. We'll leave this art up and we'll do that now.
Non-believer in the Yeti, Shiften remembers.
Well, I must say I felt I had a very strange feeling inside. I've often seen these tracks before, but hitherto I'd always been a bit of an agnostic about the whole question. But seeing these tracks so absolutely fresh and clear, well, there seemed to be no doubt about it at all. And it was that really gave me a very eerie feeling. That here one was in the presence of something quite unknown.
In the presence of something quite unknown. Now, mind you, this is the cat who found a brand new pass through the Himalayas that no man had ever been before. That's when he discovered those tracks. That was kind of pimp.
Yeah, and from that interview, I mean, he was a scary looking dude too.
He was old. He was in a convalescence home.
Yeah. He was a scary looking dude, but he looked like he might have been Burns' brother or some shit.
He does. He kind of does have that same look.
Yeah, and then I don't know what it says in my notes. It says Tom Bazzi. I think I heard that, but said saw Yeti. So I guess that's what he did.
Well, that's when Peter Graves was talking about over in China and Asia. There's been 50 years of investigation gone by that have already proven such animals such as the Yeti and the Almasty and blah, 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 as though we have specimens of these things or something.
Well, I mean, that's when he was talking too about the hand, bones.
The skull cap. Yeah,
the skull cap and everything. And then he started, breaking into talking about Native Americans and Bigfoot and all the names they
Yeah,
had.
how it came across the Bering Sea Strait, the Bering Sea, the Bering Land Bridge, the same old theory from the 70s that carried clear on until almost modern time.
And then what all the other documentaries of this time have done so far, since we have noticed patterns, now that we're paying attention, they've talked about all the same sightings. So they started talking about Jacko, the Bowman Roosevelt story, the Otzman story. They kind of wanted to get into the Ape Canyon thing, but I think they probably saw the footage from that last one and
It was just like,
yeah, we're not
we
fucking
can't,
touching it.
Sorry,
Not
the budget.
Not even with our suits. I mean,
look, if you want 8 Bigfoot suits, you don't get a cabin. Okay, that's just the way that works.
But I mean, so they just kind of told the story and just kind of showed their Bigfoot like walking around in the bush and shit, So they get into. I just have helmet head written really big at that point because his hair literally is just going. But so they talk about Mary Lou Bowman and her father, and they had the sighting, and they almost hit it. He almost hit the Bigfoot with the car
in the station wagon, flying around the corner.
And then they broke into some recent sightings, like this school bus driver saw Bigfoot on the beach, just kind of like
chilling. Like maybe he's a suntan.
And what's funny is I'd seen that picture posted somewhere, back in the days before I never knew what it was from, and now I do.
There was a scene when they were talking about the Himalayas with the there was a Bigfoot suit digging in the snow with some sticks. And somebody actually posted that not long ago. Like, does anybody know anything about this? It looks so real. And it was like, that's from a documentary from the 70s. It's so bad. Now we know which one. It's this one. Bigfoot, the Mysterious Monsters.
And then I believe you have a picture from this, but Helmet Head himself goes to talk with, I have written a crackhead judgy doctor.
Yeah, scientist. Peter Graves goes, well, what would it take to convince you of a Bigfoot? Oh, show me a bone or a piece of a body or, a dead one, and then I'll believe. Then Pete goes, well, hundreds of credible people have eyewitness testimony to these things. Again, probably mistaken. He's just like douchebag.
Yeah, so then right from there, they go to Dr. Lawrence Bradley, who starts explaining bones and how you wouldn't find them and everything to kind of like rebuttal what that dude just said.
Right.
And then
this was definitely a pro Bigfoot documentary. That is
for sure. No, yeah. And they go to Dan, I'm going to kill your last name, Balakny. He saw Bigfoot when he was a little Boy Scout, which I thought was a cool little scene. Like that Bigfoot comes creeping in, and all them little Boy Scouts are sitting there.
If I'm not mistaken, there was a Bigfoot campfire stories about a Boy Scout seeing a Bigfoot that might be related to that story.
It's like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon shit.
That's
right.
But yeah, we are talking about Peter Graves after all.
Yeah, I mean, the Bigfoot came into the camp. The kid screams. Bigfoot bolts out of there. Then I couldn't focus on nothing but this guy. They started talking to this other guy who had a sighting, and I didn't listen to his name, but I called him Pink Shirt. Because he's like, I don't care what anybody says, but he saw Bigfoot, and the entire time, he was doing his little interview. He's drawing on this little sketch pad, like his whole little 2 minutes of fame,
right?
And then he turns the pad around, and it's like just the most god awful foot. It's just an outline of a foot.
It's like, dude, that took you how long to do? My 6th grader could do that in like 3 seconds.
I wrote, good job, Pink Shirt.
That's right.
So good job, dude. If you're still alive.
Thumbs up from both your old pal Wes and Reverend Jeff. That's right, people.
And then, so Byrne comes in, starts talking about some prints and everything, and they move into Ray Pickens.
Ray Pickens. Woo!
Yeah, so Ray Pickens here, he made himself a little bunch of fake boots because one night, him and his buddy are out there in a bar, and I don't remember his buddy's name. It was like a V name or like
I don't remember
Barney
it
or
wasn't important
Barney
enough
or.
to remember, but
But apparently, these people asked him about Bigfoot, and they said they'd never seen it, and they said something about, well, you're a hick. And so this guy, to prove that he's not a hick, went home and made himself some Bigfoot boots.
the Bigfoot boots.
So he could fool all the monster hunters.
And he would
show them who the hick was.
Yeah, he'd periodically put these Bigfoot boots on and run through the hills and run backwards down friggin' hills that, would make it look like impossible to climb just to fool all them damn monster hunters.
Mm-hmm. So then Grover Krantz pops in, very young.
Oh, Grover, yeah, dude, he was looking real dapper. I got an image of that one there, dude. Boy, he was high. He was just getting that chin hair that was getting just a little. Them women like that little tiny bit of gray on the chin. He didn't have the baby look like he did in the last couple of documentaries before this.
So then he gets
the
into his
Cripplefoot.
Yeah. He starts talking about, Cripplefoot again and how it can't be faked. And then they pop in, and I just have newspaper, dude, because the name went so fast.
Yeah, it was like, what? I didn't feel like reminding it.
I had to rewind this a lot, and I still didn't catch names because old Helmet Head, I think his transmission's going. But yeah, so newspaper dude went investigating, saw big tracks, and then I have Helmet Head written again. Okay, and then Alan, Barry, Rick Murphy, and Tim Sawyer found a bunch of prints. Then those are the guys that heard the Sierra sounds. And
no mention of Ron Moorhead whatsoever.
No, and
it was kind of strange. And that's when it really started to get into. That whole story was weird because that's not a story that's told in modern day. That's for sure. So I don't know whether the dramatization just kind of got out of hand or there was confusion back then and the story has changed. But yeah, that's just kind of weird that Ron Moorhead's name wasn't mentioned there at all.
Mm-mm. And they get to Dr. Robert Shelton, and he was that country boy looking guy who also, if you pay attention in this movie, is an extra and is a cameraman and does something else also.
That's right.
But this is that ancient computer that I think you showed me a picture of.
Yeah, this thing here, this is what the Al Berry, Ron Moorhead, Sierra Sounds was analyzed on. And all they used was the syllable ah.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean, that's all they did. And then they claimed, computers verified it couldn't have been done by a human because the voice that was done on the recording and old Domehead there were different.
Yeah, and that it was created probably by a 9-foot tall.
Yeah, how the hell did they know how tall the thing was by its sound?
Yeah, and then they talked about, also they talked about, how in the sounds you don't hear any E noises, and that's because the gorilla and like certain apes haven't evolved, and this is something that Batdorf would totally fucking
geek out on.
Excel at talking about, and I just
Dr. Batdorf, we need your expertise on this.
I'm sorry. Okay, but go to him for answers on that. But yeah, like they talk about how the tongue can't say E, so that might be why you don't hear that in the Sierra Sounds, And then, so let's see here. I totally got lost. All right. Williamson, another guy who heard the same sounds, and then he saw the creature up on the mountain while he was just, chilling in the boat. Yeah, and they talked about some other, sightings. They went and, they showed Robert Morgan and Peter Byrne expedition. They were out together. And then it kind of didn't even really focus on that at all. And
No, it was
just
like a
kinda,
2-minute thing. It was just like
yeah.
expeditions are going on in modern times where these monster hunters are going into the woods looking for these creatures. Moving on.
Yeah, I thought it would have been pretty fucking cool to see Morgan and Byrne together a little bit more, but it just kind of went right on to Helmet Head. And then this is where this is where your old pal Wes kind of drifts off, because I'm easily distracted. And in every version that I found, at that moment, after they talk about all that and Helmet Head comes in, a little bug comes on the top of the screen right here and just starts chilling out. And you just start, and you're just watching, and they're talking, about, I have it just some old copy of Washington's Almanac, and they start talking about Sasquatch being in that little almanac. But I'm watching this bug kind of go, "Hi, Wes. What are you doing?" "Woo, I'm gonna go over here." And I just every version, and then once they said Minnesota Iceman, I kind of like
just snap back to it.
Yeah, and then so they
1967.
Yeah, they talk about that, and then I'm like, "Fuck! Didn't someone just resurface that or something?"
Yeah, they just rebought that thing not too long ago. Somebody in Texas.
So it's probably just fake, right? Like,
yeah, it's just a sideshow gig.
Yeah, because I have some kind of old cryptid book that has that picture. That I do it so good, I practice. But then
right.
he's still here, and I have it written on my screen. Like 30 minutes later, this little guy's still kind of going like this, which I don't know if a lot of people notice it when they watch this shit, on YouTube. I mean, probably when, the documentary was made, that little bug wasn't there, but, and this is, oh, God. Oh, man. Wow. Helmet Head goes and sees this psychic, all right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, he brings I don't have it right here. I was going to bring my print, and, he puts a footprint in a little, like, suitcase. He goes up to this psychic guy that looks like he hosts Jeopardy or some shit.
Of course it is, because it's an actor.
Yeah. Duh. But
he was the other cameraman in the last scene.
Fuck, I totally don't know why I didn't look this up. I wanted to look up the definition for this, because Peter Graves, straight face, looks this guy in the fucking face and says, "Can you psychometrize this?" What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck?
That's like fine Corinthian leather.
Oh my fucking God. So this guy then fucking puts his hand on the fucking thing and starts talking about, "It's a man beast."
9 feet tall, covered in hair, 800
so
pounds.
This fool fucking starts drawing this shit up, right? And I have it written here, and I'm sorry for saying this, but he drew a picture, like a shitty picture of Steven Strooper. It wasn't Bigfoot.
Oh my God.
I mean, if you watch that shit, that was like, I mean, if I was drunk and I was like sitting there next to fucking Steve, and I was a little baked, and I'm like sitting here like, "Hey Steve, I'm gonna draw you, man." Like, that's what that picture looked like. So that's a fucking psychometrized right there,
Psychometrized this for me, dude.
Oh God, dude.
That's
so
funny.
Then they talk about this group of sightings during the salmon run.
Which makes sense. That's one of the things that we talk about.
And then the Stern couple, I think it's Stern or CERN.
CERN, I think it is. I had a hard time hearing it too, but I think it was CERN.
They were in a boat, and I just have bad acting.
What's that over there?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it was horrible. But they saw Squatch, and typical. I mean, like, we have this stereotype of us white people going into danger instead of
That's
walking
right.
away from it.
Let's
So
take
this
the running
little-
car. No, let's hide behind the chainsaws.
Yeah, this little old lady and her husband dock their boat where they were safe in the water. They dock their boat and then go looking for this thing. And I think she sees a pile of shit because it didn't look like a footprint. And then she
I don't know
freaks
what
out.
it was. But then he's like, it was twice my stride. Holy God, this thing's a monster.
Yeah, it was funny. But then they moved to that scene. I don't even know if they even it said who this person was, but that chick that's sitting there on the couch, and then Biggie busts through the window and tries grabbing her.
The chick's laying there watching TV, and she hears a creep up on the porch.
Yeah,
And then you see
and then
the Bigfoot goes past the window. The
husband,
hubby, come! There's something out here.
husband gets his gun. He's walking all suspenseful, and
I'm gonna
then
get it,
opens the door, and boom, that ugly bastard standing
dude.
right
This
there.
thing, here's their Bigfoot suit close up. It's like, wow.
And that thing was just standing at the doorway, just
I'm shooting it. I mean, if I open up the door at that point and this thing is standing on the other side of it, I'm blasting the shit out of it. It's already violated my space.
yeah. But what if it goes? I want garlic like that.
I'm
fucking
still probably
batshit
shooting.
crazy
I'm
lady.
probably shooting it in the face anyhow.
Yeah, I think
It might even be carrying a balloon that says like "Get well soon." I still think I'm shooting it in the face.
Yeah, I think I would shoot that fucker too. He's the ugly dude. So then we get to what we talked about earlier about John Green sighting.
The John Green dramatization. Now, John Green would have been the right age to use, so they must not have used any of the original people in any of the recreations that they actually use.
And so they talk about him and two other boys were fishing, and they picked Native American, people to do that. And I don't know if John Green is Native American
I don't
or not.
know
No
if he's
disrespect
Native
if you
American
are.
or not, but they had little red boys playing his part, and John Green looks like an old white guy to me.
But you know what, John Green? No man goes fishing on a river called Nutsack.
The nutsack. It's not nutsack. It's Nooksack.
Oh,
and I actually, yes, I give Batdorf, I give Dr. Batdorf a bunch of crap about that all the time. I'm like, dude, because he says Nooksack, and I'm like, the nutsack?
Yeah, the
What?
Nutsack River. That's all
Who
I
the hell
heard.
names the river the Nutsack? No, it's Nook, Nook, Nooksack River.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
I thought you were swimming in a Nutsack River, brother. All right, and then all right, my bad, John. Sorry, love you, bro. William, I'm gonna kill your name. Also, Steinberg. Yeah, he's the lie detector guy.
Yeah, that was
him
new technology. That was new shit, man. I'm gonna hook you up to this machine, and it's gonna be able to tell if you're lying, fucker.
So they hooked John Green, who
they hooked not John Green up to the
not John
detector.
Green, who I think was Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite.
He looked scared as hell too. He's like terrified. Are you okay? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just like Pedro. I mean,
but when that fucking was over, he was twitching and trying to get his blood going. But then they start talking about hypnosis, and they show that fucking weird broad sitting there, and she's reenacting her hypnotic. I keep having to tell myself that it's not a documentary. It's not a documentary. So this bitch is pretending that she's hypnotized, and she's sitting here talking on the phone.
That's gonna go pick you up.
When he asked to describe this shit, I think this bitch was high, or she just didn't know what the fuck to say. So she just said, terrible. Terrible.
She forgot her line, and they didn't want to reprint, so they just went with it.
Terrible. And so they, show some photos of different Bigfoot sightings, and then an old fucking helmet head who's about stage 7 of his growth starts talking about the Patterson Gimlin film.
Hey, Before we get to that part, let's take a short break and talk about the tattoo of the week, dude. Holy crap, this was badass, man.
Yeah.
Tell me about this thing. Yeah, it's like it's gonna give me nightmares every time. Dude, do that to themselves. It's like, are
Well,
you trying to be possessed?
this was another contest winner, and I wanted to. I mean, this is one of the classics, Psycho. And in my head, I had seen, like how I wanted to picture it and everything, and we were pressed for time and everything, so I kind of shortened what I was going to do to it, but eventually we're going to add the little Bates Motel sign at the bottom.
Oh, sweet.
You know?
You're gonna extend on it a little bit.
Yeah, and then I'm going to go through with white highlights. I mean, this is the first stage of this portrait. There's going to be more to it,
Man,
But,
how do you enter into those contests to get
You go-
tattooed by the great Wes Losner?
You go to my Instagram at Squatchy Inc., and there will be a little photo. Right now, I'm so horrible. I should have gave you this photo. There's a photo. It's, I believe, a Ron Baker art image of Frankenstein that I really want to tattoo. So that is the next one up for grabs. And come at the end of the month, I'll be announcing a winner. All you got to do, you make sure you're following me, you repost that picture, and then you just hit, tag me in that, and then you tag Free Tattoo by Wes, and you're entered in. And then at the end of the month, I raffle it off. And so far, I've gotten 2 people since I've started doing it, and it's really fun because I get to do something I really want to do. They're only seeing one picture; they don't see what I'm gonna add to it to make it my style. You know? So it's always cool to see their reaction when they see the stencil that I got mocked up, and they're like, "Holy shit! I thought I was just getting a portrait," But there's some. I like to add more to it,
And you would get that tattoo at Good Neighbor Tattoo in Escondido, California. That's right out there in the desert.
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of near Oceanside.
Sort of, kind of
Peachy.
by way
Yeah.
of 100 miles or so, give or take. But we'll get you taken care of out there. All right, so let's get this stuff wrapped up for the week, Wes.
All right.
Did I lose you?
Well,
in your notes? There we go.
If we're wrapping it up, I'm gonna go through these notes fast as fuck
That's
for
it.
y'all.
Let's get it going, buddy.
All right. They go through my favorite thing of it was the Krantz and Dr. Douche debate, scene where Dr. Douche is talking about something and then Krantz comes in with a little bit of science like
Yeah, sort of a little science.
Yeah, so I like those little cutaway interviews that they do in some of these things. So then they talk about Gigantopithecus and that whole theory, and they move to the seams of all the Bigfoot suits that they have, and they talk about it being a gentle creature.
Oh yeah, that was the cool thing.
Meat.
Yeah, let's talk about that part. They've actually got, like 6 or 7 creatures suits in people in creature suits running around like families of Bigfoots and little ones playing together and fathers doing extra stuff for the family and stuff. And they must have really spent, like 50 grand back then on all the damn Bigfoot suits that they used in this thing. Or like Doug Hudson said, at that point, they may have actually just been recycled from shows before with new pieces.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did pretty good because it was like that makeup that you have to attach to the face and stuff like that for those.
Yeah, some of them.
They weren't just masks, so it was cool. And then, shit, man, they talk about the William Lawrence sighting, and how he had it in his scopes. And
I'm gonna shoot that son bitch. And that bitch behind him, shoot, go on, shoot. It's like, bitch, I'll pull the trigger when I'm damn ready, okay?
Then I got Helmet Head, Man or Beast. I don't know why I wrote that, but so let's see here. Just like, this is the end of my notes anyways. But oh shit.
Yeah, that was the end of the show. It was basically, it comes down to some people think it's an animal. Some people still think that it's an extension of man, while others still think that it's on its own evolutionary course. These are the things that we'll never know yet.
Yeah, just like the gorilla in Loch Ness. They're all going to be accepted one day.
That's right.
Like, they accepted that shit. But then, And then, oh man, dude. So they show old Helmet Head fucking evolved finally to pro status.
He must have his hair must have had some Viagra powder or
It looked
something.
like it literally like just kind of like whoop, whoop. But then they showed that disclaimer that you showed earlier that said, all of this was dramatizations and everything. But yeah, so they end out with, their little scary music.
I forgot to show this picture, and we've got to do it. Holy crap, dude. This was their night vision scope on their expeditions in 1975, dude. That's a serious piece of gear right there, bro. I mean, look at that porn mustache on them and the mullets going on here, man. I mean, this is just like pure 70s gold. But I had to show that picture of the night vision, or I'd feel bad because I cut it out to show it to everybody. Well, God, for me, dude, it's not one of my favorites, but it's definitely entertaining for the production value that they put into it. It's not just grainy, shaky stuff that the same stuff that we keep seeing over and over again. It definitely was all new content for 1976. So
yeah,
I thought that was pretty slick on this part. I give it a thumbs up. You should give it a watch.
Yeah. Maybe your old pal Wes just medicated a little too much before some of the times he was watching it or something, but I kind of drifted from it a lot, and I don't know, like I couldn't stop making fun of a lot of the people.
Well, that's part of the fun of watching these old documentaries,
but way better than a couple of the ones that we've done, and it did have a lot of good information. I just think that I gotta drink to that one.
Oh, you guys are gonna love it when I stab old Wes in the head with the harmonica, don't you?
Oh man. Yeah, so it was better than some of the rest, but you know what? Yeah, well, I'd say give it a watch. I just think with what they had with those suits, they could have reenacted so many good sightings and things that I don't know. Yeah, thumbs up.
There you go. That's where
you're
we're
not getting two, but
yeah, definitely a thumbs up. Give it a watch. Give it a laugh.
Yeah,
medicate up and watch it with your friends on a Friday night. And every time they say Bigfoot, take a swat. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us on this edition of the Squatchers of Bigfoot Docs Uncensored with your old pal Wes. Make sure you take your butt out to WesLossner.com. Buy some damn art, you cheap bastards, and we'll see you next week on Bigfoot Docs Uncensored. Thanks for watching. For your old pal Wes, I'm the Reverend Jeff Kelly, and we say, may the Squatch be with you.
That Squatch right there's got a very small torso.
Next week, Ancient Mysteries, Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
With your host, Leonard Nimoy. May the Spock be with you.
Oh, he is the host. Yeah, so I thought so.
All right.